or 60 people here. And we're here to deliver an emergency communication to the Peterborough Police. But this letter is actually, it's an open letter. It's posted online. You can find it on my website, fluoride-freepl.ca. I'll put a link on the homepage so you can find it easily from there. So I'm just going to read the highlights from the letter and then go in and deliver it. Okay, so it's that's the front page. To the immediate attention of Sylvia Jones, who is a woman who acts as the Solicitor General of Ontario. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I know I'm not very loud. And all members of all Ontario Police Service corporations. This is an open letter and an emergency communication. It's an evidence package and statement of facts. COVID-19 virus has never been shown to exist. COVID-19 is a worldwide lie. This is a notice of trespass and liability. It's also a cease and desist order from all COVID-19 interference. And we're asking the police of Ontario to act as your solemn oaths require to protect and serve we the people. Investigate, lay charges, make arrests, or step down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just going to all the police stations across the country?
Well, physically it's just going here, and I'll follow up with emails to as many as I can. Because these people call themselves law enforcement, and yet they're not willing to look at facts or evidence. They don't concern themselves with investigations. They're just acting as blind, robotic policy enforcers for a corporation, and that's not acceptable. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next 2 pages are just listing off Ontario Chiefs of Police and the Executive Board and the Directors of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police for Ontario. But again, this is it's an open letter. It's for all police in Ontario. So I'm going to read through. I'll just read the most pertinent points. Okay, so Christine Ann of the Massey family, bring forward a notice of trespass, liability, and cease and desist with verified evidence, and with a group of my peers, deliver it to the Service Corporation Peterborough Police Services Board on this Saturday, December 18th. The same evidence was already filed in with the OPP and with the Sault Ste. Marie Police and with the Sudbury Police. So a brief statement of COVID-19 facts, including trespasses and liability. 1, an alleged virus must be purified, aka isolated, before it can be sequenced, characterized, and investigated via controlled experiments. 2, sequencing and characterization are necessary for identification of a specific virus. 3, repeated controlled experiments are necessary for determination of disease causation by a virus. 4, purification of an alleged virus from many patient samples and then characterization, sequencing, and repeated controlled experiments are necessary before one can logically and scientifically conclude that it is circulating in humans and is the cause of an allegedly new disease. 5, it is impossible to validate any test without a gold standard. And this is just basic common sense. Okay, so 6, it is impossible to validate any test claimed to confirm the presence of a virus or a viral infection before the alleged virus has been proven to exist. 7, it is impossible to validate any test claimed to confirm a viral disease before the alleged virus has been A, proven to exist, and B, proven to cause the disease. 8, published studies wherein authors claim to have isolated and sequenced the alleged COVID-19 virus, also known as SARS-CoV-2, or any other alleged virus, including SARS-CoV-1, do not describe isolation or purification of an alleged virus from patient samples or from anything else. 9, published studies wherein authors claim to have isolated and sequenced the alleged SARS-CoV-2 or any other virus, including SARS-CoV-1, do not describe extraction of genetic material from a purified sample of virus or discovery of a viral genome. 10. Freedom of information responses from 41 Canadian institutions, including Public Health Agency of Canada, Health Canada, and all 5 of the Canadian institutions that claim to have isolated the virus, and freedom of information responses and court documents from 100 additional institutions in over 25 additional countries show that governments and health and science institutions worldwide have uniformly failed to provide or cite even one record describing the purification of the alleged SARS-CoV-2 or any alleged variant from any patient sample by anyone anywhere on Earth. 11. Freedom of information responses from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention and elsewhere have yielded no record describing purification of the alleged 2003 SARS virus or any common cold coronavirus by anyone anywhere on Earth. 12. Governments and health science institutions worldwide have demonstrated that they are unable to prove the existence of the alleged SARS-CoV-2 or any alleged variant. 13. Governments and health science institutions worldwide have demonstrated that they are unable to prove that the alleged SARS-CoV-2 or any alleged variant is the cause of any disease, new or old. 14. All of the above mentioned freedom of information responses and court documents are publicly available on my website, fluoridefreepeel.ca, and in compilation PDFs in storage drives at the following URLs. And they are, one of them is tinyurl.com/isolation FOIs, and the other one is bit.ly/AWC evidence. Okay, so here we go. 15. All COVID-19 tests, diagnoses, statistics, projections, models, and injections of every kind are invalid and ultimately based on delusion, misconception, misinterpretation, ignorance, incompetence, incomplete information, and/or intentional fraud. 16. All COVID-19 related interferences in the lives and bodies of men, women, and children, including the unborn, have been unlawful trespasses. This includes, but is not limited to, all orders, bullying, threats, fines, tickets, arrests, incarcerations, seizures, closures, public restrictions of every kind, including in hospitals, schools, courthouses, police stations, shops, parks, recreation centers, etc. All denials of service and denials of paid employment imposed and/or enforced by politicians, medical officers, employers, and leadership and members of Ontario Police Service corporations. 17. Any man or woman who unlawfully trespasses against a man, woman, or child is liable for any harm or wrong that they cause. I affix my seal below and state the above COVID-19 facts are true under penalty of death. Christopher James of the Pritchard family, Gabriel Gilles of the Pro family, who's an OPP constable with the Ontario Provincial Police, Liam James of the Brecken family, Timothy Miles of the Calhoun family, who is a retired deputy fire chief with 31 years, also affixed their seals and state the same under penalty of death. Further verifiable ironclad evidence regarding the COVID-19 fraud and trespasses on the public is available in a storage drive at the following URL, bit.ly/AWC evidence. This includes an article called The COVID-19 Fraud and War on Humanity by Dr. Mark Bailey and Dr. John Bevan Smith. This is verified evidence to this claim filed. Murder is occurring. This is the plea. Murder is occurring on your watch. Ethical provision of medical interventions requires full disclosure and truly voluntary consent. The Nuremberg Code is recognized worldwide because medical experimentation without lawful consent was meant to never occur again against mankind. All people in law enforcement are to enforce such. Note also that in the legal realm within which Canadian police typically operate, Section 245 of the Criminal Code of Canada states, everyone who administers or causes to be administered to any person or causes any person to take poison or any other destructive or noxious thing is guilty. And yet, without exaggeration, the evidence as filed factually proves without a doubt that COVID-19 is a worldwide lie. The alleged virus and variants have never been shown to exist or to be the cause of any disease. There was never reason to initiate COVID-19 testing, injections, or any measures of any kind. There is no basis even for the terms 2019 nCoV or SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. Men, women, and children and the unborn worldwide have been terrorized and subjected to horrific and unlawful poisoning, medical experimentation, and medical malpractice. Trespass, terrorism, malfeasance, and crimes against humanity is occurring right here in Ontario. Administration of useless, toxic, and invasive medical interventions that are consented to without full disclosure, and as a result of baseless fear-mongering, threats, bullying, coercion, manipulation, and misinformation from men and women posing as public health experts and public servants is vile, will not be tolerated, and will not pass without consequences to the guilty and complicit parties.
Yeah.
Murder is murder, whether death is instant or slow.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's just a little bit more. So, a statement of general facts. Again, any man or woman who unlawfully trespasses against a man, woman, or child is liable for any wrong or harm they cause. 2, unless you, meaning the police, can establish with written verifiable evidence to one or more of the following, then none of you have jurisdiction over we the people. And the same applies to any other man, woman, or people under your control, or any other service corporation that attempts to control people. Who claim we the people, property of any man or woman acting through a service corporation. We're not your property. Yep. Produce a contract where I relinquished unalienable rights to any man or woman. Produce a contract where I relinquished unalienable rights to the service corporation that you all represent. Produce verifiable evidence that Canada does not recognize the supremacy of God on this land. Oh. Cease and desist. We require all people who act as our public servants cease and desist all COVID-19 interference and all other unlawful interference of every kind, including your denial of service to COVID-19 injection-free men, women, and children, such as refusing to do fingerprinting for people who need fingerprints for a job opportunity, and masking requirements and denial of paid employment of Ontario police officers. So we're here speaking to the police at all levels, and we're here for them as well, because they're being lied to, they're being manipulated, they're being told to get these ridiculous injections or lose their jobs. So we're here, we hope they understand, we're here for you too. We're not just here against you.
Absolutely.
Address obstruction of justice in our public courts. The man Christopher James of the Pritchard family, whose seal is affixed on this and all 3 previous filings noted above, offers immediate support to you and your organizations to address these horrific facts that require your immediate action. This man and others are being denied a right of access to our public courthouses in Milton and Barrie by public servants and bar members. This requires your immediate action. It is proven, verified on the public record, the rules of civil procedure do not apply to we the people. We have multiple communications to the top people acting as Chief Justices who all failed to produce required evidence that said rules apply to we the people in order to access a public courthouse and move claim in court. These people acting at said courthouses are committing massive obstruction and condoning the very terrorism that is verified, requiring court and claims moving forward outside of a private society, the bar, that has no jurisdiction over any man or woman to deny them a right to seek the administration of justice at our public courthouses. They are blocking the required access without right. Address this immediately. Christopher James has all the evidence and communications proving said claim. I'm almost done, so I know it's long.
You're awesome.
Going forward, the fraud and manipulation has been committed against all of us and our loved ones, and all people on this communication continue to trespass against we the people due to lack of knowledge. There is no excuse now. The time has come to be a light in this world. Your oaths to protect and serve must guide all of you like lightning, as we together will stop this attack by domestic and foreign entities designed to destroy our country and ultimately the world. This is our moment. Protect the people. Choosing to seek truth and stand on it requires courage. We require you to find that courage. Investigate this matter post-haste and provide evidence counter to our claim. Otherwise, fulfill your duty to the public to act and bring an end to the COVID-19 fraud, murder, and terrorism that is occurring in our communities. If you are unwilling to fulfill your duty to your fellow man, step down. Once one of you within your service corporations are ready to take a stand, millions of honorable men and women are waiting and ready to take action, to stand shoulder to shoulder with you to fight this evil.
Damn straight.
Now is our time to ride out and face this evil together. Godspeed us all. Grace abounds. And it's signed by myself, Christine Ann of the Massey family, Christopher James of the Pritchard family, Gabriel Gilles of the Pro family, Liam Jeans of the Brecken family, and I'll just cover up my address, and Timothy Miles of the Calhoun family. And we're all signing under penalty of death.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So I will go in and take it in now. So would one or two people like to come in as a witness? And okay, we'll be right back out. And oh, the letter, let me sure I have the letter of support. I think I have it right here.
They wouldn't let me use the public bathroom when I came in here. He said no.
Oh, is that
You can't come and use the public bathroom.
Hi, thank you. Actually, we need at least a couple people to witness. Yeah, sorry.
We have to witness.
Anyway, I'm just gonna hand you the paperwork and a USB key. So this is, we're not submitting a complaint.
You can go,
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Just make sure you stay close to the door so we
Can
can
you
hear.
keep the door open?
Or just even keep.
Yeah, we gotta be able to hear.
Just need to be able to hear.
Let's see if you can use the bathroom too. They don't let me use the bathroom.
Stay close.
He's gonna get me a file number.
Should get a signed copy too or something.
No, if you get a file number, that's fine. That's receipt.
Okay.
If we get confirmation of receipt, that's perfect. But I'm sure he probably helped draft the documents. And
She's done all the FOIA requests for all around the world.
she did all the what?
All the FOIA requests
FOIA
to
requests.
ask for proof that the virus has been isolated, and 139 institutions around the world have not been able to produce it.
I really appreciate
And we
your guys'
also
time today.
require, like it says in the letter, we require counter evidence to what we're saying.
Like I said, it was so nice to meet you today. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get a receipt?
Thank you.
You get a receipt?
Yeah, let me, I just want to double check that I have the final number, because I know you gave
I
it to
put
me
it on
on
my
a piece
card
of
for you.
paper. Yeah, no, you did, I just don't want to leave without, because I'm distracted and nervous. So I want to make sure.
Nervous, you're courageous. Sometimes
Thank you for letting her in.
Thank you, the
It
officer.
was nice to have you here, honestly it was. I explained.
Yeah.
The police are in the middle, despite what some people think. We are in the middle. We don't take sides, we just preserve the laws. The laws
That's
are
all
made
we're
by
asking.
legislators. That's not us. But I do appreciate you guys being here today. I really do.
Well, thank you.
The fact that the legislators sometimes break those laws is, that's what we're hoping to bring to the fore. And I expect you as good police officers want to make sure that the truth comes out and in preservation of the people.
But it's important to impress, we are in the middle. The police are always in the middle, despite what some people think. We are in the middle. All
Right,
do
we
is
just
present
want the truth.
Yeah.
All we want is the truth, and we want
Everybody
people
said
being
take
held
everybody
accountable who are
has
breaking
their
the
own
laws, right?
opinion,
We want
Like,
the
we're
best
all
guys
getting
in
charged
this
for
game,
it
just like
still.
you guys do.
100%. sir.
Right, that's what we
I
want.
agree.
Yep.
Right, so that's what we're hoping happens here, so.
Put it in your wallet.
Sorry, I'm just.
It's okay, don't worry, you just held the torch for all of us
There it
there.
is.
Your name and what just happened?
So my name is Massey, and what just happened was we delivered an emergency communication to the Peterborough Police. It's actually an open letter that's on my website. So my website is fluoridefreepeel.ca. I'll spell it because sometimes people get the fluoride part wrong. So FLUORIDE, free, FREE, Peel, PEEL. That's because I used to live in the region of Peel, and it's .ca. So I will put a link as soon as I get home on my homepage so you can find it easily. So what we provided them was an open letter. It's a statement of facts regarding COVID-19 and more generally about law in general. And it's a notice of trespass and a notice of liability and a cease and desist. So basically, we laid out the fact that nobody on the planet has isolated the alleged virus, even though there's so many publications where they say that they isolated it, they did not. So I explained all of that, and that we have the Freedom of Information responses from around the world that evidence this fact. And then we're letting you know that they need to actually start enforcing real law and protect the people, that there's fraud going on and there's people are being manipulated and lied to and forced, and medical malpractice is happening, and the Nuremberg Code is being violated. People are being injected, they don't even know what they're being injected with. And when people are being told that, including the police themselves, when they're being told that they have to take an injection or lose their job or stay home and not get paid, that's not, you cannot have informed consent. Consent has to be voluntary. And otherwise it's simply unethical to do that to people, and it's happening around the world, and it's happening to these guys in here. They're wearing their masks, and who knows how many of them are at home right now because they don't want to have to deal with it. So this is not acceptable. So we're here for them as well. We're here for everybody, and at the same time we want them to start doing their jobs properly, because like I said to him, they call themselves law enforcement, but what they really enforce, they're more like robotic policy enforcers, where they're just enforcing whatever policies are put out, no matter the fact that there's no evidence. You can't enforce law when you're not willing to look at facts and evidence, when you don't even try to find, okay, is there proof for any of these things that we're being told? Is anybody a threat to anybody else? Is that for real? They don't look into these things, so you can't legitimately call yourself law enforcement. What law are we breaking just by existing and by going shopping or wanting to sit in a restaurant or be standing close to each other? Like, we're not a threat to each other. It's all a lie.
So what can happen here? Like, now that so what did happen? We went in and can you explain?
So, well, he was polite. Actually, when I went up there, I was surprised because I don't know if it's normal, but there were probably at least 10 or 12 officers all standing around, congregated in that area.
Couldn't see that many, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. I was surprised. It was like, I think they had some of them had come out of their offices to see what was going on. So I just stood there and spoke to them for a few minutes, saying, basically what I just told you, like, we're here for you as well. We've all been lied to. I mean, when I got to the part where I was saying that nobody on the planet has proven that the alleged virus exists, I could see someone kind of, going like this. And it was like I was losing them at that point. But up until then, I was saying, we're here for all of you. We're all being lied to, manipulated. I forget exactly what I was saying, but they were all. He was very polite.
So you were able to serve them, and in turn, they ended up giving you a case number.
So we have a case number. And I made it clear we were not submitting a complaint, and it was not a legal action. It was not a legal filing. We're doing this as a common law approach. We're standing here in our capacity as men and women. We're not legal fictions, and we're not the world of the dead or anything like that. We're actual flesh and blood people, and we have rights. And they, if they want to call themselves law enforcement, they have to start acting like it. They have to start enforcing law, like I said, not just being robotic policy enforcers. And I told him, even within the world that you operate, where you believe in all these so-called laws, we have all kinds of laws that are supposed to protect us from exactly what is happening right now, but they don't enforce those so-called laws. So even within their world, they pick and choose which so-called laws that they're going to enforce, and they're picking the ones that are harmful to the people. So
That's not law enforcement.
That's not
I
law
mean, that's
enforcement.
just doing whatever is comfortable to collect a paycheck.
Exactly.
And that is not what our police officers are supposed to
That's
represent.
not what we pay them for. That's
Absolutely.
not what we need them to be doing.
Yeah,
And they
well-
will be better off too when they, step into their truth and the power. They need to educate themselves, obviously, because they don't know everything that's going on.
So now that you have a case number, what is the next step? What has to happen next?
Well, one of the things that the letter says is for them to provide evidence to show that we're wrong,
Okay.
counter evidence if they can, which we know they can't, but have to give them the chance. So eventually, ideally what would happen now is they look at all the information I gave them. I gave them a USB key with all sorts of documentations, including the Freedom of Information responses. So they should be assigning people to go through all of that, look at all the evidence, find out if what we're saying is true or not. Did anybody prove that there's this deadly virus and that we're all a danger to each other or not? It hasn't happened. So they should look at that, find out, say, okay, what we're saying is true. And now we have to start arresting people. And also the injections, there's information there too about harm from injections. So they should be looking at that. And quite honestly, they should be arresting medical officers of health and all these other, choose my words carefully, but all these so-called public servants who have been lying to the public. And all the people involved in this, whether it's the people at the pharmaceutical companies, these so-called virologists who publish these fraudulent studies that get that's the whole basis for this whole story.
The truth would do just fine now, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Huh?
and hold these people accountable, because
Okay,
otherwise
so
they'll just keep
this
doing
is all
it.
the things that the police should do. Chances are they might not.
Right.
Is there anything that the public can do to ensure that the police are more incentivized to do this?
Well, ideally, like I said, this letter is on my website. It's already on my website, but I'll put a link on my homepage so
Yeah.
it's easier to find. And people can
Do the same
take
thing?
it to their own local police departments. What I can do, they'll need to change the contact information, because they can change part of it. I put the police services boards, the names of those people, so they could change it for their local or add to it, or
And we can help them
insert
with
an
that.
extra page.
We could help them with that.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah.
And deliver it and publicize it, because we want all the police in Ontario to read this and become educated about COVID-19, but also more generally about the law. And
Oh my God, because of you and the support of a bunch of people, we came out and let the Peterborough
it's
Police know what's
amazing.
going on.
I'm so happy so many people came out.
Good
I'm
work.
so
You're
happy.
crying and you're
Thank
cold,
you.
and I'm not
My
going to keep on
eyes
taking your
running.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now is our time to ride out and face this evil together. The time has come to be a light in this world. This is our moment. Protect the people.